never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and ride on.
Okay, so housing. Let's talk about housing. So what I did was, before I signed this contract, was I'm looking for housing. So nowadays, from my experience, I know there's several different other places to look out for housing, but I looked at Furnished Finders, a hotel, and I looked at Facebook, okay? So Furnished Finders was my first choice, but it's a little scarce for this town, but I have a budget in place, right? So what I did was I proposed a plan to the girl that I was traveling with. I said, we need to save some money because these rates have went down, and the rates are not reflecting the housing market right now. The housing market is truly trash. Like, I'm telling you, this is how I know, like, in this game, everybody's trying to play the nurses, okay? You can't offer me this low ball rate, right? Or let's say the stipend. You can't offer me this low ball stipend. And the stipend does not nowhere near reflect the current housing market that went up over the summer. Now, from the Facebook posts that I've seen, that housing always goes up in the summer, but it has not gone up this bad over the summer. Housing, Airbnb, flights, Lyft, Uber, all of that stuff has went up, okay? People cannot afford this. But the people that have lost so much, or the owners during the pandemic, they're trying to come back harder now. And it's all about greed, capitalism, all that type of stuff. But me, at the end of the day, I know my worth. So what I did was I proposed a plan to her that let me find an apartment. Okay, first it was an apartment. So the agency that you're with, they usually have like a corporate code, or they can list a few apartments that they've used. And I started calling different apartment people to get, prices. The prices was absurd in my eyes. Like I said, I have bills back at home. I don't have time to be paying these high amounts of rent to be living like this. It'd be like some cardboard box, okay? So like they was like reaching like $2,000, $2,500. It's just way above our budget. So I'm like, no, apartments is out. All right, what about a hotel? Me personally, I have to just live by myself if I'm in a hotel, okay? Hey, I gotta live by myself if I gotta do all of that. But I started adding up the amount that I paid in Maryland and California, and it's well over $1,500 just for a hotel. So I was like, that's not my budget for this contract, okay? It would have been my budget for the last one, or definitely in California, but I cannot pay $1,500 a month for a hotel. Y'all don't even have housekeeping services no more. They don't want to take out your trash no more. You can forget it. The only place that I truly like staying in is Wood Springs, okay? And Wood Springs is between $45 to $55, but still, that's way past my budget. So what I did next was I looked at Furnished Finders. Furnished Finders, I was like, okay, well, what about let's go get a house and stuff like that. So again, she got to have her room over there. I got to have my room over there. The only thing that we will be sharing will be a bathroom and a kitchen. So bathroom, kitchen would be sharing. So me personally, I've already told her, she is aware that I do not like living with nobody. I live with my aunt. I lived with my sister before. And I know how women are when they live together. There's no yin, there's no yang that we complement each other. We need to be living on our own, okay? Because we just have our own special ways of doing things, own special ways of cleaning things. And I feel like when we live together as women, if you are not truly like family, you're gonna always clash. So for this assignment, I was willing to grovel and do that. As long as we have our separate spaces, we can be able to make a come up on this contract, okay? So I was willing to sacrifice that, because it was either meet my entire budget and live by myself, or to meet half of my budget, pocket more money with her, right? So eventually we was like, okay, we got the ball rolling. I speak to somebody from Furnish Finder, and I found something about like $1,500 with the 2-bedroom, 1 bath and stuff like that. So the owner, the owner was very skeptical to me. Like I said, I'm getting the ball rolling on learning contracts, learning when I'm being toyed with. Okay, I'm not stupid. Okay, that's one thing about me is I research. So how he proposed, he was okay. Well, let me get your name, first name, last name, and when you guys plan to come here. He said, this is what I'm going to need. In order for me to take the listing off of Furnish Finders, I'm going to need y'all to give me the deposit, which was $500. And I want $1,500 of rent right now. Now, right now, he wanted that in June. We're not talking about doing this contract till July the 12th. Like, you want me to give you all of this right now? Sir, they don't even do that when you're renting an apartment. You give them the deposit the first day that you move in, and you give them your first month's rent, right? Am I right? This man, he wanted all of that stuff right then and there. I said, no, sir, that's not happening. What we can do is we can go see the place first. Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties. But what I said was basically we can see the place, or we can FaceTime so I can see what I'm putting my money towards. I think everybody should honestly, in order to save your money, because contracts can cancel at any time. Like, it's a risk taker. It takes money to make money. So I honestly think some people should get a hotel first and then scope out actual Furnish Finder places, because you do not know necessarily what you're buying, you know? So this is what happened. I was like, listen, we don't mind giving you a deposit so you can at least take the listing off so we can scope it around and everything like that, because that was the risk that we were both willing to take. But I'm telling y'all, and in order for you to not lose out on money on these contracts, because I'm hearing about people losing about 2 months worth of rent because their contracts got canceled, get a hotel first and then go scope out housing. Just get a hotel first and do that, okay? Use your company codes to get a discount throughout the week and then go do that. But like I said, yeah, that man tried it. He tried it. And then, like I said, he was just being so slow with responding back to me and stuff like that. So I decided to honestly just move on from there, and he was just being really sketchy, especially on Furnish Finder, because you don't hear that much from that site, because they do have to pay a fee every year, I believe, to have their listing on there. They get background checks and all of that. So I said, no, I'm good. And what was surprising, like, he had an Airbnb listing on there too as well. Like, he sent me his reviews. His reviews were pretty nice and everything like that. But the way that he was doing things was just very sketchy. Like, so pass, okay? Off and on. I didn't lose no money messing with him, okay? So we were honestly like we were kind of like regretting the contract, you know what I'm saying? Because we could not find housing. Like, it was already hard enough trying to get a job. It was hard enough getting housing. Like, it's just a real big issue, and I'm not about to spend any type of money, like overpaying, just to live right, you know? We should all live comfortably while doing these assignments. Like, nonetheless, you asked me for help, you know what I'm saying? So what happened was, again, we sat down and we was like, okay, we need to come to a common ground about this. Like, we really need to look at our bills and the bills that we need at our next assignment. So I went through all my bills, everything that I paid for. Like, I went through my bank statements. I put it on my computer, plugged it in. How much did I pay for? Then I had my budget. And my budget was honestly, in order for me to, because we are both different on how much we need to make per month. But me, I know without a doubt, I need to make $5,000 per month in my savings. Not everything else as far as like my hourly and my stipend. I need to have that in my hand is $5,000 plus whatever the heck else, and even more after my 3 months is up, because the contract is for 13 weeks. So I started looking again. So she was like, you know, honestly, Shay, I don't think I can do this contract. Like, it's just not working out as far as the housing. Like, you know, everything else was good, the rate, the stipend and stuff like that, but like, it was decent for the time, but like, housing just was a big issue. So I was like, okay, dang, well, I can't find nothing, you know, maybe I should just back out too, and I should just find a job back at home. But like I said, the hourly here back at home in Oklahoma is like crap. Like, I don't care what y'all say, I've gotten used to this money and I'm never going to go back. You know, I just can't go back to doing this. So I was like, okay, maybe I should go hit the floor again. Nah, like, I just mentally got so depressed thinking about bedside. I was like, I just can't do this. And so I was like, okay, let me just figure it out, because the only thing, if it's housing issue, that means I just need to cut my budget a little lower, and I need to just keep looking and being consistent, looking day in and day out. So one morning she was like, oh, I'm just gonna send him an email telling him I'm backing out the contract. She gets into it with the recruiter. Y'all know how the recruiter is. Like, I've already told you the issue that I had with him before. And so I was like cracking up on the phone, because she's telling me all this stuff that they're arguing back and forth. And he was like, don't make me put you in for a contract and you're just gonna back up out of it. And she was just telling them, like, you know, I need more money. And so I had this bright idea in the head when she called me, telling me the issue and everything like that, because me, I was like, I need the same thing. I need some more money, but it was decent for me at the time. So I was like, okay, let me just talk to him myself. I said, since you're doing immunology, right, and they want her to float, actually, right? So I'm like, did you ever ask this man for mileage? You know, because I told y'all the game about my California thing. If you're floating, moving back and forth, it is a requirement by law that they have to pay you mileage. She was like, no, I didn't ask him that. I said, okay. I said, you should have asked that, because that's what I asked when I applied for your position originally. Because when I was on the phone with the lady, she said, yeah, we might have you float to 1 or 2 clinics. It might take 45 minutes to an hour to get there. No, that's money that you can have in hand per week just from driving back and forth. That's not free. She's like, oh, Shay, I didn't think about that or anything like that. And I was like, yeah, what about gas? You have to factor in all of that. So when I'm on the phone with him, he's like pretty pissed. And supposedly he told her that, Shay, like, I'm not willing to put her on a contract, give her more money, because what happens is I lose out on my commission. Now, that's a pretty effed up thing to say to, like, basically a client. Like, I'm willing to drop you by all means because you touching my money. But it's like, I get it. If the shoe was on the other foot, I get it. If the company that you work for is giving you a set amount of budget and they not willing to make any extra wiggle room when it's pertaining to taxes, I get it. Like, as much as I hate that man's guts, like, he just broke it down to me. He was like, if I touch that girl's hourly, that means that's messing with the money that I comes out of my pocket. And I can't do that. She already signed the contract. And I said, listen, what she failed to negotiate with you with is the mileage. I said, according to the state that we were going to, that she's entitled to like 0.54, 0.59 cents per mile, right? So if we started adding up, I was doing all the calculations, the math. I'm driving on the phone with him because I'm really trying to help my friend out, right? By making her some more money on this contract. And so we working the numbers on the phone on her behalf, right? And so we came to the conclusion that she was entitled to at least, I don't remember, don't quote me on it, well over $1,300 to $1,500 more on her contract, right? And I said, okay, I get what you're saying, sir. You don't want to touch taxed money. So we're going to mess with untaxed money, which is the stipends and the mileage and everything like that. I said, so since she's still looking for more money, how about her relocation fees, right? So she's already getting relocation fee to get there, which is probably like $500. I said, how about you add an extra $500 at the end of her contract, right? Just to make up for this. Because one way or another, I'm helping her. You know what I'm saying? I'm helping her. I'm not even getting this. You know what I'm saying? I know what I signed. So we came to the agreement to make her more money on this contract, right? And he was like, man, I'm sorry for how I'm acting and stuff like that, but I just can't do it. I can't mess with money. So they talked together. They both agreed on a set amount of money. And when I was on the phone with her, I was like, how did everything go? She was like, well, Shay, I just feel like you're just taking his side and stuff like that. Because, the previous encounters that I had with this man, us arguing, I said at the end of the day, despite what I go through with this man and how he treated me before, it's all about money at the end of the day. He got to make a check, I got to make a check, right? And so I don't care how, I put all my feelings to the side for you, you know what I'm saying? To make you more money, because I really I've never went any traveling place without her. I met her in California, and we've been inseparable since. We've been living in like different places, but in the same hotel and stuff like that. We'll visit each other when we could, but we've done everything together, okay? So she's like, well, I just feel like, you're just taking his side, and I just don't know. And I was just like, why do you feel like that? I feel like I really was helping you out at this time and being. Maybe you feel like I'm using you. I don't know how, I don't know. I did not get that answer out of her. But she was just acting real funny on the phone, and I just could not, for the love of God, find out why. I understand originally we was kind of thinking about backing out of this contract, but, I realized we had to take a high road that me and you both need the money. You trying to go back to school, I'm trying to go back to school. I got bills, you got bills. We just don't have time to be waiting on all these other agencies to get back to us, and they not getting back to us. We've been ghosted several times with recruiters from different agencies. Now, of course, we have to go back to this agency that we hate, but it was the only one that was paying. It's the only one that got our paperwork, and now I'm on my way to my next new contract. I gotta do it. I just gotta do it, okay? So I just put my feelings to the side. So that just really, it left a funny taste in my mouth since then, because I just helped you with something as a friend. No motive or nothing like that. And I talked to this man on your behalf about getting you more untaxed money. And it happened. She didn't even thank me for helping her with that. She didn't thank me. She didn't call me. She was like, oh, I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna think about it. And she just hung up the phone on me. She was really mad because I was, quote unquote, taking my recruiter side about his commission checks. Sometimes you just gotta play the game to get what you want to. Okay? You really do. Like I said, the shoe was on the other foot. I would have never took you out as the client either if I knew that was going to play my money. The real person you should be mad at is the agency, the CEO, the big dog, because he's the one that's tweaking the numbers. He's the one that's getting all the money. So you just got to play the game to get where you want until you can call those shots. Until then. But nonetheless, I made you more money. So when I was on the phone, she was still trying to figure the whole thing out, and I'm trying to break it down to her. And she was like, well, how much did he offer you? And I'm like, for the sake of the conversation, to make her get it, right? Should never done it. I told her, I said, whatever that they offered you, it's probably a few dollars more. And so she was like, what do you mean by that? And I said, well, you said that you took insurance and stuff like that. Insurance takes an extra $2 to $3 off your check. There's a lot of things that you were adding on to your contract that makes it less pay. And so I'm not going to be making lesser than you. And so she was on the phone, and her voice got a little higher. She was like, well, I don't understand, because I have a specialty and you don't. So I was like, what's that supposed to mean now? That was a little shade to me. You know how I feel about specialties. I don't necessarily care. But she was like, oh, well, since I'm doing immunology and you just doing family medicine, I should be making more to you. You did not negotiate. This goes back to what I've told y'all before. Negotiate your contracts. There's always wiggle room. When I got on the phone with that man, they offered me that job 12 hours later. We was talking numbers. And whatever he offered me, I said, oh, I know you sound like you got more wiggle room on the phone. He offered me $1 extra. Okay? So I'm like, it's just $1, you know what I'm saying? But then again, I don't have insurance. Okay, so that's probably $3 extra more added on to my check. Okay, we was just adding up all these numbers, and I was just telling her, like, it's not that big of a deal. Nonetheless, you still have your stipend, you still making more than what you were making before. Like, I just don't understand what's the big issue. And she really felt some type of way that I was making more than her what she was doing. So I did all of that to even make her money. She didn't say thank you. And when I went off to Costa Rica, I didn't have a lot of service, and she reached out to me like a week later talking about, well, I found, a house, and what you think about this, what you think about that. And I didn't have a lot of service to reply back to her or anything like that, but she was like, well, why are you not responding back to me? I guess that means you're moved on. And I told her, in a nice way through text message that, yes, I have moved on. I don't have a lot of service here, but take it as that. Yes, I've moved on, So I really wish that her the best, but like, I just did not like how she did me. Like, as a friend, you should be really happy that I did all of that. No, I did not have to do that, but as a friend, I'm willing to help you any way that I could. I spoke on your behalf. I made you some more money. I've been looking at housing, and the housing that I was looking at was way cheaper than what she was looking at. And I was like, the contract was just starting to go downhill. So nonetheless, I moved on from her and that type of friendship, and I just had to move on for that, because it was just weird. Like, my spirit knew that I can't live with nobody. I can't let nobody in my space. So I said, you know what, Shayla, you got to do this on your own. Like, I was in Costa Rica just planning this out, having fun. I said, you know what, I'm gonna just do this on my own, and that's exactly what I did.